course you didn't like The Exorcist, you atheist. So when I first saw the trailer for Exorcist the Believer, I was very, I guess you could say, not a believer. I didn't really have a lot of high hopes for it. The original Exorcist from William Friedkin is one of my favorite films. It's a masterpiece. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And I recently did revisit The Exorcist, watched the 4K, which is a really good transfer, by the way. Just I'm not gonna lie, I just wanted to watch it to watch it. I didn't watch it to prepare for this film. I just watched it because it's a great movie. And I do think that The Exorcist 3, it has a place in my heart. I do enjoy The Exorcist 3 a lot. So when I do think of an Exorcist sequel, or the sequel to The Exorcist, if anything, it would be The Exorcist 3, not The Exorcist 2 or any of the other ones, The Exorcist 3. But something happened over the last few days. I feel like a reporter with this thing. Like, it's like, hey, huh. But something happened over the last few days where I seen so many mixed reactions from The Exorcist. Now, I expected The Exorcist the Believer, I expected for people to say that they didn't like the film, that the film sucked, and it was going to be a big, just massive dumpster fire. And there are some people that have said that, and it right now currently has, I think, a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't focus on critic scores a lot, and I think this is honestly a pretty good example of that, because when I saw that this film originally, I think at the beginning of the day, had a 29%, and then on IMDb it had, I think it was a seven on IMDb, and then on Letterboxd it had a 3.1. I'm sure those have went down, but it just sort of showed that this is just one of those films that people are mixed on. There's really, it's either you like it or you don't like it. And again, I think I have found myself in the position to where I am sort of in the middle. This film could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's not. It's not. And it's directed by David Gordon Green. He's the guy that done, the recent Halloween trilogy. And I think personally, the biggest issue that I have with Exorcist the Believer, and this isn't going to be me talking bad about it, because I actually enjoyed the film for what it was, for the most part. It's a very clean looking film, which I get. The Exorcist one, the first Exorcist was filmed in the 70s, and then this is filmed now, but it had a very clean look to it, and it did things and showed things that the original Exorcist didn't do. And it's not like, oh, okay, well, they showed it because, we only got to see Reagan, and we only got to see her possession. We don't know all the other stuff that went on behind the scenes. And you could say that, but it's executed in a way to where you can tell that it's being utilized, for a modern audience, which again is fine. But it's a very clean film. And that was one thing that really distracted me. Another thing that distracted me was the people in front fucking talking constantly. It's like that happens every time I go to a theater. Although there was a couple up front that brought their kids, very young kids, keep in mind. And I was a little bit thrown off by that. They were going to the bathroom a lot though. Guess kids have small bladders. I know my kid does. And also, really, this film could almost be standalone. With the exception, there are some tie-ins to the original Exorcist, but it's nothing. It's nothing extreme. I would honestly say that if this film acted as sort of a standalone Exorcist movie, or a standalone exorcism movie, I guess you could say, which of course they're going to throw the Exorcist name on there probably regardless for the money, which I mean, I guess you can't blame them, or maybe you can, but I feel like I would have watched it and I would have said, okay, exorcism films still have a place. They still work. And that's one thing that I noticed. It works. There were some genuinely creepy scenes in Exorcist the Believer. There were some pretty interesting scenes. The beginning of this film, when the two girls go missing, because that's what it's about. It's about two girls. They leave school. They go out in the woods. They're gone for 3 days. But to them, it felt like an instant. They didn't feel like they were gone for 3 days. And you have these different religions sort of trying to help them out. That's not a spoiler. That's just what it is. Um, it works. It really does just work. The famous line from Todd Howard. And that leads me to get into the things that I did like about it. The imagery. There's some creepy imagery. There was actually, I'm not a big fan of jump scares. I don't really like them that much. But I will say, when they're executed right, I kind of have fun with it. There was one jump scare in particular that actually got me. It was good. I think it got most of the audience. It was good. Um, and apparently, I think Blumhouse and Universal spent $400 million on this franchise. And this film had a $30 million, or not, or yeah, $30 million budget, I believe. Um, that's a big investment. That's a big investment because The Exorcist, while it is a beloved classic, it's not Friday the 13th. It's not Nightmare on Elm Street. It's not Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even though I would say that's probably the lesser grossing franchise. It's not Halloween. To take a risk like that, I find it very interesting, and that's the reason why I'm excited for the next two entries, is because I feel like when it came to Halloween 2018, when it came out, it had a pretty positive reception. I actually really enjoyed it. There were some parts that I didn't like, but for the most part, I acknowledged that it was a good film. Then it seems like they got comfortable with the narrative and the direction that they were going, and then the two that came after that just didn't live up to the 2018. Although I do see a lot of people really enjoy Halloween Kills. I feel like that's going to be the complete opposite for Exorcist because they've spent $400 million on this franchise. So I think the smart thing to do would to finish, the trilogy. But with this film getting such a low reception and such mixed reviews, but getting a lot of constructive criticism about the good things, I could really see the next two actually utilizing that information to to sort of expand upon the universe. So I am excited with where they go next because I think it would be pretty interesting. I really do. I think it's the complete opposite with Halloween, where, okay, Halloween, you've made your money. That's great. We're going to make two more and make even more money, to where, okay, we can see what you're doing with The Exorcist. We don't necessarily like it, but what else do you got? And I like that. I do like that mentality going through. And I guess that might be sort of me trying to find the silver lining, sort of, find the light at the end of the tunnel. But I think you really should, especially with something like this. Um, I won't get into spoilers. There are some spoilers that I could get into that I don't want to, because there are a few scenes that did take me off guard in this film. I will say, nobody felt safe in this film. That's all I'm going to say. And I appreciated that. Do I think this film deserved a 22, 23% or whatever on Rotten Tomatoes? Absolutely not. The film was not that bad. I guess, again, I don't really care about reviews that much, but I guess you could say, because this is kind of just a discussion, I could see a 50, a 60 would be acceptable. I mean, the original Exorcist has a 78, which is kind of shocking. I think that would, warrant like 150. But yeah, I'm interested to see where the franchise goes next. But anyway, guys, let me know what you thought of Exorcist Believer down in the comments below. Also, if you guys want to check out the trailer for my upcoming film, Pesadilla, it would really mean the world to me. Check it out on Instagram. Check out our Facebook. We worked hard on this, and I'm really excited for you guys to see it. I know I'm just somebody on YouTube talking about my film, my independent film, but it's going to be different, I think. I think you guys are going to really, really enjoy it. So if you guys want to support that, definitely check out the teaser down in the comments below or the description below. But anyway, stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys next time.